stream starts in 2 minutes. All right, 1 sec. Let me look at this. I can't believe I actually destroyed her like that. Holy shit. Dude, that was the most lucky thing of all time. What is this sign-up banner? This didn't used to be here on Twitch. This is new. PUBG mobile ad. Let's go. I actually want to wash my hands, dude. I was sweating, dude. I was like, oh, fucking panicking. Oh, we have a minute and a half. All right, 1 second. Let me change my game and title and stuff. You're handshaking only a tiny bit at the end. Game Overwatch. Title. Dev Coach. Dev. Title Dev Hour. All right, we're good. We're good. Dev what? Dude, it's the Dev Hour. It's fine, dude. What are the expectations? I have almost no expectations, to be honest. Okay. Very quickly, before it properly starts, there was the Play Overwatch Twitter. And it said, join Zoe, Aaron Keller, and the Overwatch devs as they talk early Overwatch 2 alpha impressions and goals for the first closed beta. This seems pretty low-key. Like, it doesn't seem very... Like, there's no, like, holy shit, we have a huge announcement, I assume. So, it could be very boring, but we're going to watch it.
I fucking hate Eagle.
I paused and resumed, so that way it put me up the front, dude. DQ, thank you for the Prime. Maxwell, thank you for the 19 months. Push is literally in the background of this intro. Yeah, it's Bob. 1 second. Let me mute Elden Ring in the background.
Hello and welcome one and all. My name is Zoe Schwind and I have the
Oh.
utmost pleasure of hosting this Overwatch 2
John
developer live
Spector.
stream where we want to talk about the upcoming Overwatch 2 beta,
Jeff Goodman.
the alpha,
Aaron
and the developer
Keller.
approach to content as well as communication. And joining me to answer some of the many questions I know that we all have after the most recent developer update are no other than Aaron Keller, our game director,
Hey.
Jeff Goodman, lead hero designer, and John Spector, commercial leader. Thank you guys so much for taking the time
Chat,
to
let me know if
chat
the
with
audio
me
is chill.
today. I am just so excited to have you all on for this show. Now, last week, or the last weeks even.
Let me know if you guys need
must
it
have been
louder
pretty emotional for
or
you
colder,
guys
you know,
and your
warmer.
teams as well. How are we feeling today?
Well, first, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today, and for everyone that's watching for taking the time to watch. We're so excited to.
I'm
to
taking
talk
the
to
time, Aaron. I
everyone
clicked
and
on a Twitch
to
stream, all right?
continue with our communication, and the team is really excited right now. It's been a long
Aaron
time
Keller
since
has a
we've,
streamer camera.
been able to talk about this, and it's been even longer since we've been in this position.
He has a better camera than
where
I do.
We have people playing a development build of Overwatch. Like, people in the public are doing that right now, and it's
What's up, Al?
so fun to watch. It's so great to interact with those people and hear all of the feedback that they have, and then all of the amazing conversations that it spurs on the team. It's just an exciting place to be in.
Yeah, I think exciting is putting it almost mildly. It's also, I always say, like, when we.
I mean,
the
it's been a
first
long
you're-
time.
the
Am I
public
right, guys?
Of any kind gets to see your game. It's like, it's almost more exciting when you actually ship it, because it's like the first, interaction you get and the kind of feedback you're getting. And man, it's been a flurry of feedback. It's been great. We've been reacting pretty aggressively.
Yeah, I'm
Wait,
the
what
new
does
guy
that
on
mean?
this team now, having just moved over from Overwatch League a couple months ago. But I think just seeing what it's meant to a lot of the people on the team who have been working on this for years to now
Reacting
be able
aggressively.
to show that to players, and we're a month and change away from being able to do that, and the beta has just
A month
been
and change.
amazing. And for me personally, it's just
Month and
so
change.
exciting to be here now and
All right, so
have the chance to
earliest
talk a little bit more about what we're planning to do.
April 18th.
Well,
Huh?
I can't wait to chat about not only the announcements made during the developer update, but also
Chat,
pick your
define-
brains about
define us some
some
change.
first impressions regarding the Overwatch 2 Alpha, which is up and running as we speak. But let's take a few steps back to find out how we actually got here in terms of release / schedule, I guess, with Overwatch 2. When and why did you guys decide to more or less split the game in two?
So that's a really good question. And
Communication
it is
strat
something we have
changes.
talked about a lot, especially
Spicy question. It is.
recently and over the last year. And I think to like really put it in perspective, it's important to talk about two values that are core to development for Overwatch. And the first is to always be delivering regular content to the game and updating it and keeping it feeling fresh and exciting.
Okay,
and the
you could
second
say
value-
that, but
and I
also-
think that this is a value.
Oh, God.
It's not just an Overwatch value; it's a value that all of Blizzard shares, and it's to release a game when we feel like it's ready.
Okay, I respect
when we
that.
feel like
Yes,
it's
yes,
great.
it is
And
true.
so you take those two values, and then in light of the team kind of choosing this strategy to focus on Overwatch 2, and to put a lot of resources into the campaign and the hero mode for that side of the game, it left the live service with less focus.
It's
and-
true. There was nothing.
And by doing that, it put us in like this really difficult position. So we could either be, and it put us in a difficult position because like those two sides of the game were now like tied together. So like Overwatch Live support was now tied to development on Overwatch 2 systems and features. And that's it's a difficult spot to be in because suddenly you have like these two core values that aren't aligning with each other anymore. Is it like, hey, let's just get Overwatch 2 out as fast as we possibly can, so that we can start supporting the live game some more, but before we actually think it's ready, that it goes against everything that I think Blizzard stands for, or is it, hey, let's keep working on Overwatch 2 and release everything when we think it's great, and have this gap stretch on longer and longer, and we couldn't do that. So in essence,
he's not wrong.
Us kind of like splitting both sides of the game from each other is a way for us to start addressing this problem. I love this company. There's like so many talented people here. I've been working here almost 20 years, and one of the reasons that I'm here is because I feel like when Blizzard releases a game, it's going to be great. It's going to be amazing, and that it's also going to have a high level of support to it. And so I think pulling these two parts of the game away from each other is our way of addressing all of that, keeping those core values at the same time, and still being able to deliver an amazing experience for Overwatch.
Everything he says is totally right.
I think the feedback to
But
that
also as a
strategic
player, it
move
is
has
very
been
funny to hear them talk about how one of the
very,
core
very
values
positive.
is
I know
releasing
we're all
content
so
constantly that they
excited to
didn't update
see,
for years, right?
everything which has been shared
So
with,
naturally, we as players are going to be
you guys last
super
week.
salty, but it is a
But,
super
there
awkward
has been a bit
spot
communication drought in Overwatch in the past.
because they
So
went all
how
in on
will your
Overwatch 2
team
is what
ensure that
basically
things
what
will
he's
be
saying is,
different now?
hey, we went all in on Overwatch 2
Should or can we,
and it was taking too
actually
long.
expect some
And so we're shitting the bed with the current game
communication update
to
getting
make
our
a
way?
future game. So we better just
Yeah,
get it out the
it's
door
not
right now and
an
split it.
excuse,
Split
but
what's
it's sort of
ready,
more
I
of an
guess. I don't know.
explanation. I think part of the reason why we didn't do as good of a job over the last several months in communicating as we wanted to was as we were sort of making this shift in strategy that Aaron just talked about it's sort of
This is
challenging
spicier
to
than I was
talk
expecting,
about
by
that
the way.
until you figured out
I was not at all expecting them to talk about this.
exactly how we were going to land that plan, our ability to deliver against it, and all of those things. And so I think the whole team understands that collectively we needed to do a better job, and going forward we need to do a better job of communicating with our players. We made that renewed promise in the update that Aaron shared last week, and I think there's still some skepticism, right? Of, well, they've said this before. Do you actually mean it this time? Our hope is that we're here a week later, coming back and talking to players again, sharing more information, talking about how the alpha's going, all of that stuff, really in that spirit of we made that promise, we intend to keep it. And even going forward, as we look toward our first beta test, our goal really is, even between now and then, to be coming out regularly with more information about what players can expect there, and continuing to respond to questions where we can.
At least they're
So
self-aware.
we know that
They're-
we need to prove it. I think this is hopefully a good.
I
first
mean,
step in
so
that
far
direction,
from
but
the
we have
devs
work to do there.
talking, like they're
Yeah,
very
definitely
open
a
about how much they
trust-building
fucked up with the
exercise, but on
franchise
right
so
here.
far.
I'm so glad that,
I mean,
all
it's not
three
like
of
they're
you are
denying
joining me for our
anything.
chat today. Now,
Although
we
him
did
saying a few
also
months is
hear
pretty
a
funny.
commitment to delivering more content, but that leaves some people a little bit worried, a little bit scared with the question: has the team grown to a point where it is
Yes.
suddenly
How do you
able
plan?
to actually support that?
How do
increase
you
in
intend
content?
on supporting the game as a
so
live
that's an
service,
interesting thing
like
to-
everyone
to
else?
talk about
Because they've never been able to do it.
The original Overwatch team, when the game shipped, it was like between 60 or 70 people, and it was really small.
60 to 70 people
and
total.
we did quickly start growing as we started adding more features to the game. But we're talking about a much bigger experience now, and we're talking about adding a lot more content to the game than we have in the past, especially the past few years. And to do it just takes more people, and so we have been growing, we have been expanding. We're over 200 people now, and we're going to continue to
200
grow
people. Wow.
on top of that. And we're working on a new big thing, right? And we talk about Overwatch 2 a lot, but like I kind of feel like we have the Overwatch team 2.0 as well. It's this collection of like amazingly talented individuals that all had a love for Blizzard and a love for Overwatch, and a desire to come and help create more things for this game. And we are so lucky to have all of them. And at the same time,
Doggo.
we've still have like this amazing core of people, that helped ship the first game. Like all of the directors on our team, or most of them, were all there for the inception of the original game. We have like multiple designers on this team that have all been at Blizzard for over 20 years, and
That's actually true.
including Jeff Goodman. And
It's actually
bring,
completely
like,
true.
this incredible amount of sort of like
All of the
experience
high-level
and
devs I've
knowledge of the
talked to
game,
when I've been
with
fortunate enough to
them.
visit
And,
Blizzard, a lot of them have been there for a very,
the
very
team
long
is
time.
growing,
But
and it's important for us to keep growing, and it's all because we want to be able to support the game as much as we possibly can.
And there's certainly no lack of talent on this team or any team at Blizzard, really. And I can see our chat is also complimenting our ability to stare into the camera. We're very good at that. What can you say? Like just the deadpan
it's like
stares, it's perfection at this
hey,
point.
Siegel,
really
Jeff
is.
Goodman looks
Now,
like you, but he
Aaron, I
traded.
heard you
He
saying
doesn't have.
live
Wait,
service
instead of
earlier.
head
This
hair,
is
he has
something we hear you
eyebrows.
guys
Okay,
mention,
dude.
quite a bit in the past
Relax.
as well. But what does life service actually mean to the Overwatch team and to Overwatch itself?
Yeah, so live service, I get that it's sort of like an industry label or an industry term, and the way that we kind of talk about it internally is more of Overwatch being
So live
a
service.
living game, and I think there's a
Living game.
bunch of components to that. So we want the game to
Is
feel
always
like it
grilling
has
them,
like a
dude.
regular
I mean, this is pretty
to it.
spicy. This is actually
And some
much
of that just
spicier than I
comes
was
with
expecting.
regular updates to the game, and we want people to be able to like expect more content coming, and even a lot of times expect the type of content that's going to be coming to the game. And when we do that and we do it right, I feel like it is always keeping the game fresh, and it's also like changing the game. So especially like different types of things that we release, from
Well,
like
it's content
new
and balance
maps
patches
to
on a
new
regular
game modes, and
basis.
especially new heroes, things like that actually change the way that the game is played on a fundamental level sometimes. And I think that's really exciting for players. And this isn't quite answering the question, but to even talk about the past a little bit, like when we kind of like pulled some of our pulled focus away from Overwatch 1 as we were developing Overwatch 2, we stopped
Abandoned.
releasing heroes to the game. And there was this consensus that Overwatch was maybe in one of the best balance places that it had ever been in.
Oh,
But
I agree with
people
that.
Still wanted there to be changes to the game, and when we make like balance changes to the game or any type
Ooh,
of change,
I
we always
actually
want
agree with
that
this to some
be
extent.
something that's elevating the game and making it better. And we're in like this really awkward position of like, well, the game's in like a really great.
You made a whole
spot,
video on that?
but
I
people
did.
Want
But
changes to it.
Immediately after I
and
made
when
that
you think
video,
about,
they tripled
further
BAP's
back in the
ult
past
radius,
when we
and they
were
did a bunch of
releasing more
changes,
heroes to the
and
game,
it was
that
not nearly
wasn't
as good
really the
afterwards.
problem. The meta was always changing. There was always like different strategies that were happening because there was just enough being added to the game that it felt like this living experience and this thing that
I think what Aaron Keller's trying to
people would
talk about
react to.
is you want to have the
And then there's
chaos.
other types of content
in
in
the
there
meta.
too. Like if you think about some of the features that we've released since launch of the game, like right after we launched, we released the competitive system. We released the arcade and crossplay. All of those things kind of change the way people think about and play the game. And so part of like a living game and a living experience is to continually be releasing content and features like that. And then like the last part about that is we always want the game to have a connection to the real world and to kind of reflect what's happening in the real world. We love that our game is set actually on Earth and that people are able to relate to a lot of the
Except for
different
Horizon
heroes and
Lunar Colony
locations that we have there. But we also like to update it with things like a Halloween event or a Lunar New Year event, things that actually represent parts of our everyday experiences. And so like continuing to
It got removed from the game. Wait, wasn't it a quick play?
Pieces of content like that and updating those is all
It was just
part
taken out of
of
quick play? Oh my god. It's gone.
a living game.
I enjoyed
or,
that map.
Like our interpretation of what a live service game is.
Gotcha.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I mean,
the-
as
so they're
happy as
using
I
a lot
am
of
to play
buzzwords.
Junkenstein Revenge for the next
But
10 years
basically
of
what
my
he's
life,
saying is
I do also
they want to
appreciate
update the game a lot and
content
have
coming
events
our way. Now, I want to
and
I
actually
want to talk about the alpha as
have
well as
changes
the
and new
upcoming
characters.
beta.
It's like a
We
little
know
bit
the
of
alpha is
everything.
up and
It's
running,
not
the
all
beta
they're
just
kind of all
on the
over the place.
horizon. What are your main goals for the alpha as well as the beta? What kind of performance benchmarks, I guess, did your team set yourself for either of those two?
Well, for me and my team, we're very focused on hero balance. I like that Aaron just said the game was perfectly balanced a little bit ago. That went over really well.
Okay, there was that. Okay. People's gonna shit on him a little bit, but I think it is undeniable that Overwatch has had historically better balance in the last 2 years than any other time in Overwatch's lifespan. It's not deniable, and the reason is because they haven't released any new content, so it's just been slowly more refined. But still,
a long time now, and we have our own sort of internal meta, which is always very different than the external meta, especially when the game.
But also they're
out.
devs, so we need to shit on them at least a little bit.
Sort of like pretty quickly got a lot of feedback about a lot of stuff that was pretty overpowered. So we have been reacting really quickly and trying to get some changes out there, but it's been super exciting.
I think that there's a lot of interesting things that are happening now that other people are playing it, and Jeff was alluding to it. But there's also like a lot of different skill levels that are in the alpha too. So
well, yeah, I mean, you guys have random Blizzard employees and Overwatch League players in the same in the same alpha.
And so to be able to see the way
imagine being like a random Overwatch League. Sorry, can you imagine being like an Overwatch dev and you're like you work on like Hearthstone or something? Like, oh boy, I can't believe I got access to Overwatch too. You're like, you log in and it's fucking like Profit on the other team.
Like mid skills to high skills, and then like that upper echelon of skill that's there. Like you think about the aim, like in the precision that some of these people play with. It really affects some of the like decisions and the way that we think about the game. And so like it's great to get all of the feedback, but it's also nice to get like a new perspective.
I mean, it sounds like they're getting the variety of feedback where you have the pros complaining about pro things, and then you have the average player complaining about average player things, and you get the variety of perspectives that's actually required to build a good video game.
Fine-tune some of the balance pieces that we're looking at.
It's like the type of thing, chat, where
I mean, with actually all due respect to my colleagues on the dev team, like playing against Jake on the alpha is a different experience. That happened to me like 3 matches in a row the other night.
Get owned.
Thanks, Jake. And it's
wait, Blizz Andy B's in chat. I got a kill on Nero. I don't know what you're talking about.
The folks on the design side of things. There's also a bunch of like less kind of cool goals for the alpha and the upcoming beta of like stability and testing servers and matchmaking systems. And there's a whole bunch of things where changing systems under the hood like we have and moving to 5v5 and
Overwatch
what
League pros are
impact does that
terrifying.
have
I
on
would
our
imagine,
team
like, if you're
dynamics,
just
how
an
we
average
matchmake,
random
all of those
person,
types of things where
you're
it's
not
sort of a
supposed to
little
run
bit
into them.
less, like in your face as a player than, hey, there's a new hero, or we've reworked some of the other heroes or changed balance. But it's also really important for our team.
Yeah, I guess the more data points you can collect from every angle, the better the end result will be. Now, of course, also the more feedback you get, the more comprehensive your feedback is. So I do wonder, how are people actually chosen for the alpha and beta? How do you choose who should come in to give you feedback and who shouldn't?
I mean,
Yeah, so for the alpha, it's the vast majority of players in there are actually our fellow Blizzard employees. And then we have
I mean, if it's
this
friends and
group
family,
of Overwatch League
traditionally,
pros,
historically at Blizzard, that works
basically
by
some of,
they
like, our
all
family
invite
members, like
all the
my
Blizzard
brothers
employees
in the alpha,
and then random
and
people
I,
they
you know, I
know.
think for a lot of the members of the dev
But that was
team,
back in the day.
being
And then
able
this
to
time
invite
around, they're
in
adding all the
even
pros
just
in.
one or
The
two
pros
of
are
their
just
friends
stomping
is
everybody.
really cool.
But-
and then there's a small handful of others, but it really is this this pretty tight group. And again, the spirit of the alpha is to go from just a couple hundred of us testing up to several thousand people when you include Blizzard employees in there, and really.
Dude, I
to
wish I had
be
a
able to
graphic for
then,
this. Be like, all right, here's
get
the
enough
flow chart.
feedback
We
over
started
this
here. We had
period
like
where
20
by the
people.
time that we launched the
Then we
beta,
had the Overwatch
we
team, and
had
it was
the
like
opportunity
200.
to take a couple
Here's
of
the alpha.
classes
It's like
at
3K or 5K.
addressing bugs and
And then in
other
a month, we're doing the
types of
beta where
things
it's going to be
balancing
like
balance
500K.
changes.
Good
We'll
luck.
talk more about that type of stuff. For the beta, honestly, we've been blown away by just the enthusiasm for it. I think I speak on behalf of all of the poor people on our server and website team. They were prepared too, and it still crashed the server. So
Oh, that's actually a really good sign for the
been,
franchise that there's
honestly,
still
all
that
of
many
us, I
people
think,
interested
humbled and
after years of
genuinely,
lacking content.
feeling really grateful seeing the positive response to that. I think later today or in a little bit, we're actually going to be able to update the beta sign-up site with an FAQ for players that talks a little bit more about how we
Maybe
plan
their
to select
servers are shit.
players in the beta,
Traditionally, Blizzard servers are
what
actually
that
really,
process
really
will
well
look
done.
like. But our goal, I think, broadly for the first beta
On a technical
is
level, I would say
to bring
Blizzard
in
is
players in a broad range of
absurdly
skill
good
levels,
99%
broad
of the
range
time.
Regions, different system configurations,
It's very rare.
like some people with the new graphics card and some people without, and those types of things. Just again in that
Diablo
spirit
2
of having,
remastered.
a
They came out and
broad
said they hit like
representative
400,000
cast that
concurrent
continue to roll out
players.
this content, and get a
The-
chance
Like,
for,
dude, they were talking like
for players to
they
get
were
their hands
talking a
on
little
it
bit about
before
that. They
it's
like
gonna
they
roll
have
out.
never seen those. They were not expecting
No
that big of a
surprises at
launch
all
for
that the
D2.
website crashed.
Like,
So you're trying to be prepared.
that was
but,
insane.
Just can't be. Just never be prepared for that. Now you said broad spectrum. I saw some people in chat asking already, and obviously all over the internet. Console players, will they be able to get their hands on the beta as well? Will they have a chance to try it out before it goes live?
So for this first
No.
beta, we are keeping it to PC only. But while I can't really get into the details of it now, like we do want to include console players at a future point in our beta testing program, and we're working toward doing that.
So it's a no.
All right.
No.
Well, that's good to know.
Okay, I'm trolling
There
you a
you
little
go,
bit,
console
but
players, you're welcome. We
Why?
know
It's
that
'cause
our players,
there's always
our
weird
pro
publishing
players,
stuff with consoles.
are
I don't really know how it
currently
works, like
rolling out
pushing
in
builds
alpha.
to it and stuff.
Can you
It's why
speak
console
to
players have
what
always
the
been a little bit
reception and
strange
feedback
with
from
like
them
patches
has
and
been like
everything.
so far? Like how extensive,
What is
helpful, or
Siegel
even
doing?
eye-opening that kind of feedback from that pro level has been for you guys?
In some ways, it's been like surprising, and in some ways, it hasn't. I guess I'm really happy at just the amount of feedback we're getting. It's been great. It's sort of we have these channels open to communication. There's like a flood of information. I'm kind of disseminating it to my team. We're deciding what to do all the time, but
What is
it's
Siegel
been
doing?
really amazing seeing what they do with the reworks, and they pretty quickly called out things that were kind of overpowered that we were worried about. So that I guess that's good and bad. Obviously Sojourn's in there, and she's kind of based on this railgun. So I mean, that's a hyper accurate, high damage weapon. Obviously,
God,
the
dude.
pros are going to be pretty good with that. So something we were worried about, and it pretty much immediately came to light. So originally
Immediately,
we were
huh?
looking at this alpha, we weren't sure how many times we were going to be able to
I mean,
update it.
balancing an alpha, I don't
We
care
thought
about.
Maybe
I'm gonna be honest, I really don't care.
Put it out there and gather a lot of feedback.
But
and
also,
then
it's funny.
maybe move on to beta. But pretty quickly we were just like, okay, we need to patch, we need to, we need to make updates to this, we need to respond, we need to iterate. So we've actually been able to do that. I think we just had our first big balance patch today, actually. So we're able to sort of gather
Oh,
feedback
balance
and iterate. It's been
patches, huh?
amazing, and it's really helpful for sort of to get that new fresh eyes on everything, especially the pros, and seeing what what comes out of it.
Yeah, and there's like
So what? They're trying to
there's
like
been some,
iterate
like,
to an
really
actual beta build right now.
interesting, pieces of feedback too.
It
And,
was
like,
just what it sounds like. They're trying to like patch
from
the shit
dev
out of
team,
it
and
to
even
beta.
from a lot of the people that are playing in the alpha right now. There's so much positive feedback. A lot of it even around 5v5, where it feels like there's the pace of the game. It's not crazy fast, but it's sped up a little bit. They're getting stuck at chokes, especially behind something like a double barrier, less than they were before. It feels like there's more
Ooh.
space to move around the map. And then
Sped up, it was
a lot
already
of times,
fast.
like, you'll look at some of the Overwatch League players.
Well,
And there's some of that's happening, but it's at like a different level. So when there's only one tank, and when there's a lot less CC out on the battlefield, because
One
that's
tank?
some of the changes that we've made here also.
less CC,
Sometimes like
less
a
double
Tracer
shield.
can get into the back line.
Say
and
more, Aaron.
Just wreak havoc because it doesn't feel like there's as much that supports can do. There's not like an off tank that's peeling. There's not other like members of the team that can like sort of like counter some of the abilities that these people have. So like you'll see some of the heroes that we have, especially some of the flanking heroes like Tracer and Reaper, are now like really dangerous back there. And we started getting support that's like, hey, it feels like, or we started getting feedback that it feels like our support heroes are unsupported, and that it's just that they need some work there. And
Well, that makes sense
we
because
think
if you get rid of off tanks
feedback's
traditionally
right.
in Overwatch
So
would
we're
block the
looking
shit out
into
of
it.
everything.
We're hoping to like preserve all of the things that
With only one
that
tank,
we
it's
think
just
make
not possible to
5v5
cover that
great,
much
but also
of the
be able
flanks
to
and
kind of-
stuff.
kind of
There's no
cater it
like
to this high skill
Sigma
audience,
wandering around
and
or
kind of merge all
Diva.
of that together.
So how do you look into that kind of stuff? Like,
Well, I
what
guess
does
there
the
is, but there's only
process for
one of them
feedback when
now.
it comes to balance changes or concerns, especially. How does that process look like?
I mean, like usual, we get a lot of feedback from a lot of different sources, but we do have like a main channel of feedback where we get kind of from everybody, which is kind of nice that it's centralized. But a lot of it's looking at different people's perspectives and how they're playing it and trying to get context. I mean, we're in direct communication with people. It's not just like a one-way street where they're just sending us stuff. A lot of times we're asking questions about how they're playing it or what maps they're playing on and stuff like that to sort of get better context. But a lot of the stuff that Aaron mentioned is sort of been consistent feedback. For example, that supports feel like they're just really hard to survive. Basically, they're just getting dove on. The meta is really, really fast. For better or for worse, we knew it would be faster, that's for sure. But it's definitely kind of this like super dive right now, almost. So I mean, that's something we have this opportunity now to make these changes and iterate on the game and make sure it's in a place where everyone's going to be happy with it.
Right on. Well, I do wonder how frequent
Dive and dive?
the bug fixes are currently.
I mean,
in the
I'm down
alpha.
for dive more
I
than
guess
I am
what
for
I'm
shooting
asking, what does
shields.
the turnaround time from feedback / complaint to the fix look like at the
Sure.
moment?
I mean, it sort of depends. We actually had technically, like I said, we had the first patch today, but actually that's not even really true. We had a really small patch, I think, on Monday. So we've been able to patch, at least in this case, twice in 1 week, which is pretty nice. But yeah, so I mean, a lot of it depends on not necessarily sort of the tech side and how often we could patch and sort of QA things. A lot of it's sort of getting the feedback and discussing it and talking about what we want to do and how crazy do we want to try things. Sometimes it's we're trying we have a patch or two to try really, really crazy things, and if we tiptoe and try to make small changes, maybe we won't get anywhere useful. But if we make like a big change that you think is maybe even too strong, that's more sort of powerful feedback that you can combine with other feedback, and you can get a lot more.
He's trying to describe this dev concept, Chad, of like,
you really need, even
if you want to start from somewhere, you just
maybe what you want. So we did some
you
pretty
do
wild
it
stuff
an
today
extreme change and
to see
then
how it
dial
plays.
back
But that's kind of
versus just going tiptoe sometimes.
In my opinion, I just want to.
It's a lot easier when your game isn't live to do stuff like that, because obviously if stuff is live, people are actually playing your
Yeah,
game
we
all the
also
time, and it's not
have
you're making experience really negative or really bad
there's
for
the
a
balance
shorter
changes,
period.
and then again, there's like quality of life. Making one of the goals of the alpha, right, is that by the time we get to the beta, we've addressed
Throw
some
shit
of
to the wall and
bugs
see what
that
sticks.
people are
Yeah,
talking
and
about
then
that have
I mean
impacted
that's
their
good to
experience,
do
and
in
our
an
QA team
alpha
has been
stage
doing
when
an
not many
amazing
people are
job
playing the game because
of,
people have less
logging
expectations of
literally
balance. They don't give a
everything, and
fuck.
it's sort of a like, how important is this thing to fix tomorrow? And some of the bugs are just like downright funny. I actually sort of wish we hadn't fixed some of them. Someone reported like Winston was too wide to fit through a door on our new map, Circuit Royale.
Too wide?
That got fixed. So I think by the time that people get to see that map in beta, in fact, Winston will fit through the door. But there's like a whole bunch of that stuff that, again, when we had a couple hundred people testing this, you don't catch, and we've multiple times already been able to update the build and address things like that are a little more quality of life.
It's
Yeah,
definitely
we were
chaotic.
able. Go ahead.
I was just comment on that. It's definitely chaotic to try to get, me and my team trying to get these balance changes in and test. We usually try to run some internal tests too to make sure we're not doing something like really broken. And then of course,
Oh, yeah?
QA, we're getting bug fixes from the tech side and everything. We're trying to like corral everything into one patch really quickly as fast as possible at the end. So it's pretty chaotic sometimes, but I think we're getting there.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with bugs. We're trying to hit all of the most egregious ones first. So we were able to jump on that Winston issue immediately, but there's, or we were missing all of Sojourn's VO lines in the alpha. We didn't know when she ulted, she was just like this silent hero on the field.
Silent character.
And people started saying like, oh, I think her ult line, it's like too quiet. I'm not really hearing it. And other people are like, I don't think I hear it at all. And we investigated it. And this was maybe like an hour into the alpha launching. It's like, oh, whoops, they're all missing. And we're even getting feedback even down to like really small things like, hey, the particle effects on this fountain aren't coming out of like the person's mouth. They're coming out of like their forehead, and they'll include like screenshots and movies of it. So it's been really
That'd be my kind of nitpicky feedback.
It's good. You need that.
That's
we
also
should
good
keep that.
feedback though.
It's hard as a player, right, to figure out like, is this a feature or a bug? Like, is this
Yeah.
that way, or is this actually something I should be reporting? Now, obviously, it's still early days in the
After we
alpha,
move
but,
past the spicy questions near the start chat, this got a little
crazy
boring.
revelation so far regarding the new content which is featured in the alpha, looking at the new game mode push, for example, or some of the hero rewards, the new
content?
maps, or maybe just to switch to 5v5.
There's definitely been a lot of surprises on the hero side. I mean, there's some stuff that, I mean, this is like the opposite of answering your question, sort of, but it's in some ways where I was really happy to see some confirmation too, because, we had been playing internally for a long time, and like I said, our internal meta is obviously very different a lot of times, and so we were not obviously are always super confident in it. But we heard a lot of concerns when we talked about 5v5 originally that only main tanks were going to really be viable, probably like Reinhardt. How do you not play Reinhardt in that situation, for example, or something? And internally, we were like, man, it really kind of feels like the opposite. Like we're a little worried for Reinhardt, and we're a little like feeling like D.Va and Zarya and are really strong. And so we just sort of like, well, I guess we'll see what happens when we put this in other people's hands. And that that's one example where it turned out that pretty much they agree that Reinhardt's maybe a little weak, and sort of the off tanks are actually kind of running the show right now. So that, I mean, it's
Especially
not a
Doomfist.
concern. Yeah, right.
You should
So
talk about Doomfist a little bit.
Yeah.
He is strong.
So Doomfist, probably one of the bigger reworks certainly is switch roles so that he's a tank now. So that's
That was from the leak earlier today. We
really
confirmed
been
that
super
again, but
interesting getting
also
feedback on that,
beforehand.
because we haven't done that very often. Technically not the first time. Symmetra used to be support originally.
True.
Way back in the day. But so yeah, Doomfist has been generally extremely positive hearing that, getting the feedback from him. And I was really scared to see what kind of feedback we're going to get, because it's so different. He's a little strong right now, so I don't know how much of the super positive feedback is coming from how strong he is, but I was really worried about him in particular, because there are certain heroes in our game that have a really strong sort of feel to them that if you play a lot, you sort of get attached to.
Oh
It's really
yeah.
hard to
Oh yeah, that's
distance
100%
yourself from
true.
that,
And you
especially
mess
heroes
with
like
that
Tracer
feel, and
Genji
every
Doomfist,
fan of
like
that
high
character
mobile,
will hate you forever.
heroes like
Ask
that.
any Mercy
So
main.
Doomfist is definitely one of those.
Holy
yeah,
crap, there's so many of those people who still exist out there. Where's my mass res, Blizzard?
Dedicated Doomfist players that we have, they're generally really excited for it, and they're really happy even with the role change. So I've been really happy about that. We have to nerf him a little bit, but you know,
So yeah, it's good they captured the feel. They said, you know,
Oh,
so
yeah.
far
Yeah,
the
we'll find out how
feedback
these
has been
changes
positive,
happen.
so that's
Like
good, I guess.
someday a dev shows up and the offense is like, how about he's a tank now?
Yeah. Well, I mean, to speak to that actually is to kind of why it went that way. I think it's interesting. You know, part of one of the major sort of
Oh, give me
overarching changes
details.
we were trying to get at for the combat of the game is to just reduce crowd control effects a lot. So a lot less stuns, especially hard crowd control effects. So, and you know, we're looking at May, and we changed how May's freeze work. It only works on ult now and stuff like that. And those are kind of like low hanging fruit things that we can change. And then it comes to a hero like Doomfist. You're like, well, what do we
Everything
do?
is a
This guy's
CC.
sort of built on crowd control. And
I mean, they are
you
giving
either
details
needed to
here. How
basically
much
go in there
CC
and
have they
change,
removed? I want to know
probably
that.
a lot of his kit, or like really reduce crowd control on how he functioned, which is hard, sort of a combo-based hero.
It's
or
easy
moving
to
the
say
tank
reduce
role
CC
and,
until
you
they
know, the tanks where we're kind of
people
allowing
actually
the crowd
see it.
control and the hard crowd control to exist, so we could sort of maintain a lot of this feel in his kit in that role. And so that's kind of what we ended up going with, and it worked out really well. So, but yeah, as Aaron mentioned earlier, it has led to some scary issues with heroes that we knew were going to be maybe problematic because they're kept in check by crowd control, like Tracer, Genji, Reaper.
So that's why
we
they were
had
talking about
some
Super Dive
plans
earlier,
we had some
because
things in place to
he's
sort of reduce
basically
their
saying
power,
they
but
reduced
it was-
CC so much that the flankers
still
became
working
really
on
good.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's been like really interesting to watch a lot of that too, and like Doomfist in particular, you know, like he kind of illustrates the way we've been trying to handle the CC abilities in game, is by moving them, as many of them, into the tank role as we can, and part of that is because it kind of, because there's only one tank on the battlefield now, it reduces how many are out there, and also like. For tank players, we would get feedback that sometimes it just felt like you were in a pinball machine, you know, as you're on the front line and you're.
Dude, there's
you're
some
getting hit by
famous
the
clips.
crowd control ability.
Wasn't it
like
Tim or
all
Calvin on
6 heroes,
playing
you know,
Rhine on
winning
Oasis,
the team.
dude?
And so it just
Does you
kinda
remember that
helps
clip?
for
It's
us
like
to
from
center
2018. It's like 4
them
years old.
there. And so, like,
It was
made a lot
Calvin.
of sense to
Oh
move
my God, dude,
Doomfist
someone link
that
it.
way. But at the same time, like, he was like such a fast hero, that and he could be all over the place sometimes. And
It
so,
was
like,
Tim.
we did a
might have been
little
Tim
bit
and
to
Calvin. I'm not sure.
slow him
I remember
down.
Calvin, though.
He's still very mobile, you know, like there's been a change to his kit, and we'll go into like more details of like the change to his kit, and to Riss's kit later. But like at this point, like he basically has a leap that's similar to a Winston's leap to get in, you know, and so like his
Oh,
ability
I'm
to
a big fan of
initiate
Winston
some of these
abilities.
fights is actually pretty amazing, and also like the cause of some of the issues that he has, you know, like imagine a Doomfist that's able to get in, is more survivable than he used to be, and also has like the ultimate escape to kind of pop out of combat. So we're kind
It
of
does do a
looking
lot
at
less
that.
damage though.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
Jeff
that's
Goodman's like,
good.
but he doesn't kill you, by the way. He's like, he's trying to save it. He's
So,
like,
okay,
oh
yeah,
no,
so don't
please.
imagine that.
You're scaring people.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly,
exactly.
like it's also always depends on who is playing that Doomfist. If I'm playing the Doomfist on your server, you have nothing to be worried about. I mean, leaping in there, and then I'm just kind of, well, and now.
I mean, that is
There's that. Now, I want to talk about another brand new feature, which has not been getting quite as much spotlight so far, which is the ping system. I personally love
Oh yeah,
it,
they added pings.
but I would love to hear your thoughts on the process, why you felt this
Okay,
was
but-
necessary to be added. Like, what were you hoping to improve or fix with the ping system?
Because every game in the world
Yeah,
has
so
pings
the
except
ping
you.
system has actually
Come
been
on now.
great, and I agree with you. There's moments there where it feels like it changes the way you play the game or think about the game. And there's a lot of reasons to do a system like this. You know, not everybody wants to communicate using voice comm. And
True.
our game's obviously too fast to be able to strategize over like.
Seagull,
in-game
here's
chat.
the
Like,
clip.
that's
Wait, I linked the
obviously
clip.
not going to work. And then
All right, they're talking about pings.
a lot of times
Let's
people
watch
are
this
more
clip.
precise even than
Tim, why are you playing Overwatch right now featuring Aimbot Calvin?
Dude.
Here we go, here we go.
Dude, oh my. Stop it! Oh, dude, I'm done with my. Dude!
poor Calvin, dude. It was such a good clip. And the fact that Aaron Keller referenced this clip, he literally said Ryan was like a pinball sometimes. He knows this clip. There is no doubt in my mind that's what he's referring to when he says we toned down CC.
Some heroes can actually remove pings from themselves. So, like
no doubt in my mind.
Removes ping on her. She just used an escape on it. You can ping non-heroes in the game, like Bob. And also it's like totally customizable. So not only is it context sensitive, but then we have something kind of similar to the comms wheel where you can select the different pings that are more important to you. So you don't always have to use the context sensitive ping. You can use all sorts of other different.
So did he
ones.
say pings linger on
So
enemies?
that's
I'm
kinda
not sure. I missed it a little bit.
Some of the reasoning behind it, some of the features that are in there, but we've also gotten like a lot of like really great feedback on the ping system.
It sounds like it's like a
simple
focus
things like,
target.
hey, it needs to be more responsive.
But pings are. He said
wheel
also
needs to be
pings are
more
contextual.
responsive. Just like clicking the world needs to be more responsive. So we're working on that. We also realize it's not quite noticeable enough. And what we have in there is kind of our first pass on it, but we're going to start kind of like getting more there on like the visuals and the sound side of it. We're looking at more context aware features. There's like a really great suggestion from one of our content creators to
Content creators? Pause champ? Who's it? You didn't. You almost said their name.
To actually have unique VO lines depending upon which support character is pinging. So like right now, if you're support and you ping, it'll say something like, come to me for healing. But wouldn't it be great if it was Anna and she said something like, get in line of sight so I can heal you? Or if it was Lucio saying like group up on me for healing and things like that. And so
that is actually a good change.
Like that.
That is actually a good idea.
We're also fixing bugs. Like right now, you can use the ping system when you're dead, and you probably ought not to be able to do that.
What do you mean? I love chain pinging on people when I'm dead.
A really, really like great addition to
Chat,
the game. We've gotten great
that's such a
feedback on
useful
it.
feature in League of Legends. You know, have you guys ever played League of Legends when the people just spam ping on you after they die with question marks?
Conversation we just had about Doomfist, like a lot of these things.
It's very
obviously are
important.
A lot easier to show players versus us sitting here talking to all of you.
Same
I
with
think just
Apex.
to address that sort of head on, we're a week into our alpha. This morning we significantly updated the balance for Orisa and for Doomfist and for a lot of these things. And so what we plan to do is, as we get a little bit closer to our April beta, we do plan to come back and say, hey, here's all of Doomfist's new kit. These are his new abilities. This is how much damage these things do. The leap does these types of things, and we will show that. The same is true on something like a ping system, where just more description.
When did he say that? When is that happening?
And more just visual. What does this look like? Like we know that people.
I assume with the
wanna
beta.
See that. It's a little bit of we're
April
making
beta.
significant
Okay.
changes through the alpha on these things. And we wanna
Before
make
beta.
sure that
Okay.
When we come
And
out
he said
we
a beta
talk
is
about
a
the
month
Orisa
and some
rework,
change,
it's,
which implies
explaining
probably the
he has
last
a
week of April is what I'm going to
balance
assume.
aside, right? Like we just changed a lot of how that worked this morning in response to feedback. We want to make sure that we have probably one more crack at updating some of these really significant things before we come out with here's how all of that works and looks.
Exactly. So you gotta practice some patience. See, chat ain't usually that good about it. I know you all are just dying to see content and features and like all the great things coming our way, but you have to wait a little longer for that. Now, the more we chat,
Oh
of course,
no,
the more
I don't
excited
want to
I
be
get
patient
about watching
to see
the
this stuff
first
after that
few
long
official
though.
OWL matches and playing all that new content with my friends. Now, while I do love
Even more
an era of
patience. We've been waiting
mystery,
long enough. Yeah,
and
the
I
only
still
reason
love
I meme on that
will
comment a
soon
little
be
bit
me.
is because people
There
have been
actually
waiting
a specific date
for
set
years,
when the beta will
right?
officially hit
That's
the
all.
general public who have signed up for it.
April 26th. That's
Oh.
our plan.
Oh, he just
There
said
it
it.
is!
April 26th.
Correct on that.
Can't believe you answered that question, actually.
No one's ever asked this before.
It
People just have to ask.
The people just have to ask. Okay, we're gonna hit them with questions.
April 26th, then.
Yo,
mark your
Aaron Keller,
calendars,
when does
and
Overwatch
on
2
this
release?
exciting announcement, I think we should be ready to wrap things up here. Aaron, I would like to hand it over to you for some last words to our community.
Yeah, sure. This has been like a really exciting time, and I think what the team is like really looking forward to isn't just the alpha, but like the rest of what's coming. You know, like This is going to be such an exciting time for our community, for our players, for the team. We're so excited for it. We can't wait
Okay.
to bring you along for the journey. We can't wait to get in front of you more, talk about the game more.
How often
talk
can
about
I
some of the
expect
things that
little,
are coming and our
you know,
insights
dev
and some of the
hours like
feedback
this,
and
Jeff?
changes that we're doing. So thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. We can't wait to see you and play with you in the future.
All right. Well, that was a quick and easy one. All right, quick. Sum it up, boys. Sum it up. So they basically announced April 26th for the... Oh, God, what's happening in Elden Ring? What the fuck? All right, back to alt tabbing. Wait. Blizz, Andy B in chat. How often do you want them? Well, I mean, whenever you have interesting things to say, Andy. Right? You have the mix. Okay. You have... Crap. I don't... All right, let me see this. Chat, when would you want to see in terms of dev streams? How often would it be? Every week? That's too fast. They're not going to have anything useful to say. I would say once every month or two. And I would say that would be more normal. But then I would say specifically if you guys are doing beta tests, structuring discussions around beta tests, I think is good. So for example, if you guys went and said, having a dev stream before the beta where you show off, hey, here's what's coming in this build and whatever. And then, you know, you have another dev stream before the next beta being like, okay, here's what's changed. Here's the new content that we're adding. And here's the feedback you guys gave us. And here's how we're acting on it. It's going to depend on what you guys have to say, right? So realistically, like every 1 to 2 months. Yeah, I think that's kind of normal. Every 3 years or so. Stop. Oh, God. It's toxic. It's an actual dev in my... Warframe has a good example of dev updates. Yes. Warframe actually does a really, really good job with their dev streams and their dev updates. For sure. I would definitely, most of the time, what it's going to be is, I think, based around whatever new content that you guys are adding, and that's up to you guys. And hopefully, in a world where you guys are regular releasing content, that would be, you know, feel often enough. Like, Destiny 2 is also really good with TWAB. Oh yeah, this week at Bungie. Yeah, but that's not like a dev stream. It's, you know, it's a difference between like written up stuff versus the alternative. And also Destiny 2 is a lot different of a game than something like Overwatch in that category. I think that would be cool, right? To have, honestly, just a little bit of both, where you have the dev streams and also this week of Blizzard. But yeah, I don't know. Everybody's going to say different things. But for me, yeah, man. Am I wrong? Because I kind of fell asleep with the rambling. Did we actually learn anything besides 4.26 beta? Apparently, so a lot of it's small. I would say a lot of it is pretty chill. Like they weren't really dropping a lot of info. They said 4.26 beta. They said they confirmed the Doomfist is now a tank. They confirmed what else? PvP beta 26 April. Yeah, we know Frenta. We've been watching. It kind of felt like it was an apology video / stream. Yes. At the very beginning, it was very spicy. They did apologize for a lot. No console beta. Well, they said they hopefully, maybe later type of thing. Doomfist is now a tank. Yes. Orisa Javelin Pog. Yeah, Orisa has like a spear apparently, according to leaks. They confirmed that Super Dive was OP. Yeah, but this is all kind of small balance tuning stuff that I don't think necessarily matters as much as the bigger picture, which they talked. I mean, let's talk about bigger picture stuff. They said specifically, we toned down CC so much in the game that we kind of have Super Dive in right now. And as a result, supports feel too pressured. And so they had to like balance stuff out. And Blizz Andy B in chat. This stream was really about opening a conversation with the community. We'd like to be able to talk to players more often. And even if we don't have any major announcements, I'm down. I'm good with that. I understand you guys would want to actually talk on top of having announcements. So, yeah, I'm in. And thank you for dropping by the stream. I enjoyed it. giving you all insight into our thought process, how development is going, etc. Yes, I'm a huge fan of this, specifically because Blizzard historically is extremely secretive when it comes to their development process. Overwatch 2 in particular has become so negative in the community, mostly because the developers went dark for so long of, yeah, we're just going to put our heads down and work on the game, which was fine. And then, you know, COVID and then everything else. And here we are, right? So they don't want to commit to stuff. Well, I mean, it's up to them, right? So, and also thank you for dropping by again, Andy B. With a tank change, why would a team ever pick a D.Va or a Roadhog? Sounds good. They actually also said that. They said that apparently main tanks are really weak in the alpha. They said currently, and they were worried that this might be an internal meta, is what they said. And then they said once they got more people in it, they also agreed that characters like Reinhardt were actually weak, which is weird. So it'll be interesting. And apparently Doomfist is strong. Yeah, they also said Doomfist has new abilities, and they compared one of them to like a Winston leap. Main tanks can't kill flankers easily. Well, I think it's more of just a 1 versus 2 tank thing, right? So you have, if you guys ever think of like how team fights end up working in Overwatch, is like you very commonly have one tank that's the front line, right? And then you have another tank who has the capability of actually turning around and killing people or controlling areas. So for example, with Orisa Sigma, it's very common that you see Sigmas kind of playing mini off angles. It's very common with, for example, D.Va plus anything. The D.Va is the one who can help the back line and also play map control a little bit more. And so if you only have one tank, you kind of need the front line no matter what. And so I could see it being a little weird. So, but yeah, the Final Fantasy XIV team does this, and I think it helps keep the community active. I think it does too. I think it's just something that's cool for the hardcore player base to actually have that communication with devs. So it's gonna be cool. And now the only thing that we actually get to see is on April 26th. Man, that's gonna be so weird. To actually play Overwatch 2 and actually show people, is it good or bad? Are the changes in the direction that they're taking this game gonna be strange? It's gonna be strange, man. Only Watch feels strong, man. Yeah, the return of Only Watch. Also, what's up, Timo? Dev should brand these types of streams differently. Call these DevCom updates and one with the neat dev feature updates. I like more regular comms, but then the expectation of getting cool features, them kind of talking about minor alpha changes feels bad. Oh, yeah, I can understand that, especially with the Overwatch dev team, because they've kind of always, like, whenever you thought of, like, the classic Jeff Kaplan devlog, dude, it was always, like, big shit. You know, it was like a giant feature, giant this or that, and it makes sense. Who says you will get into beta in April? They did. They said April 26th, dude. Is it 2016 again? Is it? I mean, April 26th, it'll have been so long since. Oh my God, there's actually so much time. That's so strange. I actually was internally freaking out a little bit when I was watching that Tim the Tapman clip. It was a link to actually a Calvin clip, and that Calvin clip was 4 years ago, which was crazy. But yeah, does anyone have anything else, by the way, to talk about in regards to Overwatch 2? I think we hit all the big points. Trying to think. Maybe go back to the VOD for the ping stuff we missed. It seemed pretty straightforward. Calvin feels strong, man. He's at law school, Chad. He's at Harvard. You barely have enough time to finish Elden Ring? Listen, okay. Let's check my Elden Ring playthrough, right? I just killed apparently the hardest boss in the game. I'm at 82 hours, all right? It can't have that much more, dude. It can't have that much more. Or maybe it does. We'll see. Pepe, what do you mean? You're about halfway through? All right, let me check my map. Listen, I just okay. I still haven't done this whole top right. Okay, so maybe you're right. Maybe I have a decent amount of time. Why is he tagged Overwatch? What did I miss? Oh, we were watching the Overwatch dev stream up until I guess 5 minutes ago when it ended, and now I'm probably gonna go back to playing Elden Ring and feeding all the bosses. Are you gonna go back to being an Overwatch pro with a new game? No, definitely not. Although I wouldn't deny that it would be tempting in some aspects. If I got super addicted to a game and I wanted to go pro in it, I'd be sure why not. But otherwise, dude, I've been there, done that, and I'm a boomer now. Chat, I'm 29 years old. Everybody knows your reaction time after you turn 20 years old is so far gone that you stand no chance of doing anything physical ever again. In fact, legend says that's why I missed my handshake back in 2016. Basically 6 feet under. It's true. The start of it all, dude. You should become a coach. Okay, listen. Chat, let's talk about jobs here. Chat, can you imagine, would you rather dick around, play things like Elden Ring for 6 to 8 hours a day, and shitpost on the internet, or wrangle together 20-year-olds and deal with their drama on an Overwatch League team to try and convince them to work together and get paid probably nothing in comparison? And they're all Zoomers. They're all probably like 18 years old, dude. It's a hard choice. You have to pick and choose what you want to do. It sounds like hell, dude. Why not both? Just stream it. Okay, Naltz. Listen, Naltz right now is like the Corpa esports org. All right? Naltz is the corporate esports owner who's just like, you know, guys, I think all this practice time is just unmonetized content. Have we considered streaming all practice hours? Like that is 100% how I feel. That take, dude. Esports reality TV. Yes, our viewed hours would likely increase if we installed cameras inside the practice room on a 24-hour stream. Have we considered adding Big Brother into our practice regimen? You know, no one's going to watch that. It has been done. Okay, first off, people would watch that. They would never watch the normal teams. They watch the teams that are falling apart. Apex Pros stream scrims and tournament POV. Corpa thumbs up. Yes, true. They actually do. And I actually do agree that there always is the thing, right? Where like pros should probably, I would actually love to watch those teams scrim. Like, for example, right now, if, you know, this is kind of the magic you lose as an example of having a more, I'll say, like, it's not necessarily corporate, but like, how do I put this? In Overwatch League, for example, everybody has access to Overwatch 2 right now, right? And so all of them are playing and scrimming, come up with meta and everything, and it's cool. But as a viewer now, what I really wish I could see, dude, I wish I could have watched Super log into Overwatch 2 for the first time, try to play like Doomfist tank. Like, I would have loved to watch that. Just watch him log on to a scrim and just play Doomfist and watch him feed his brains, because you know he would. I would love to watch that, dude. But I can't, because they're actually practicing for a tournament. But there's so much, you know. And so now that I'm on the outside, right, I'm the viewer, I am all in on the viewer experience. I don't give a fuck about competitive integrity right now. Like, to me, dude, Chet, if I had my way, no Overwatch League player would play the beta or alpha until 1 week before their game. And they would have to be streaming everything. It would be a total shit show. It would be a disaster. Everyone would hate me. But I would love to watch the chaos. Like, I don't care about anything else other than the chaos at that point. First time play at a tournament. I mean, I did it. I played D.Va back in the day. How hard could it be for them, dude? I would love it because it's fair play. Well, no, I think it would be hilarious. It would be terrible for competitive experience, terrible competitive product, terrible for everything. But also, I want to watch the chaos, right? So for the content, yeah. And so I think there is an element of the magic that gets lost to some extent because people get to play this alpha earlier than others, right? You lose out on that magic. And I do think with some of that magic with the original Overwatch beta back in the day, all of it was streamed. Even though it was our first game and no one could really play it, it was still streamed, and it was like, I don't know, it was very special, I think. You just want to watch the world burn. Well, I just like to see the chaos of players. Please tell me you're going to play the new Final Fantasy to kill chaos. Okay, dude, I have seen clips of that game, and it is insane. It is absurd. Like, I actually do not know what game that is. That entire game is insane, dude. You can't stream the ending of that game, by the way. It's absurd. Like, everything about it is crazy. I don't know how else to describe that game. I need to find the clips, dude. One sec. It's what game? Okay, just here's another example. Okay, listen. I got linked this clip a while back. It is just so good. We deserve the chaos. This is a 40-second clip, all right? Strangers of Paradise has what I'll call an anti-story. It's told in such a way that defies comprehension. What is this conversation?
Wow. So this is what the city's like. I'd forgotten.
Looks like you're as forgetful as the rest of us.
Am I? I guess so.
Just...
We're forgetting things all the time.
I guess it's the price we have to pay for this strength.
Attachments to this world will just make it harder to do our duty.
It's so good,
It's a
dude.
mercy to forget.
A mercy, huh? Whose mercy? Someone or something must have decided to make it this way. Who was it?
Chaos. It was chaos.
It's me. I forgot.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, this game is wild. Like, I don't know who made this game. I know nothing about it. It's so for those who don't know, this clip is from the game that was from the Chaos game. It's an AI that writes JRPGs. Dude, it is wild. And so when I see clips like this, man, it makes me so happy that the internet exists. You know, play it. Chat, I watch people play that game. It is terrible. It is so bad. Okay, like the gameplay is not good. You will never like everything about it does not look good, but it is so absurd that it's good. It's like turning around, and I don't know how it's doing it. It's so bad it's good. Yes, exactly. The combat is actually decent, supposedly. Oh, okay. Well, now I feel bad, but also just that didn't look any different than JRPG writing. So are you playing it? No, I don't. Listen. So when it comes to these types of games, chat, what you do, the strategy is you don't play them. You just enjoy the clips as they appear on the internet. Tomatoy, thank you for 8 months. Polar OK Art, thank you for 29 months. I had a lot of subs during this whole shenanigans. All right, let me change directory in game because we're not talking about Overwatch anymore. Shout out to the devs for that. Whatchamacallit? Dev hour, we could say. I don't know why I keep making that joke. I need to stop. Shout out to the devs for an actual good Overwatch 2 dev stream. We got an actual dev update with regards to a beta date. They said they've reduced CC so much that flankers and they have super dive, and apparently main tanks aren't good, so they already had to buff Ryan or something. So all right, title, feeding all bosses ethical build. Ryan mains haven't had a W in 6 years. That's not true, Mr. 1979 Honda Accord, dude. They had goats where they held down W and did nothing. By the way, streamer, a hidden wall was recently discovered in Volcano Manor that takes 50 hits to open. Okay, someone show me this wall. I want to go break the wall. I'm down. Let me go hit it 50 times.